Breaking right now, America's immigration system is shifting fast. A federal appeals court has just greenlit indefinite detention without bond. DHS is pulling hundreds of officers from Minnesota after deadly shootings. Dozens of new immigration judges, many with military backgrounds, are sworn in. Courts are blocking IRS data from reaching IC. And Democrats are drawing a hard line with 10 demands to rein in enforcement. Power is moving, rules are changing, and millions of lives could be caught in the middle. Stay with us, this story is bigger than headlines. Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, U.S. Immigration News. We hope you're doing great. Appeals court greenlights Trump admin policy of detaining undocumented immigrants without opportunity to seek release. A sharply divided federal appeals court delivered a major legal victory to President Donald Trump on Friday, upholding his administration's policy allowing the detention of undocumented immigrants, many of whom have lived in the United States for decades without access to bond hearings. The 2-1 decision from the conservative 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals clears the way for a tougher deportation push across Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Under the ruling, immigrants who were previously released on bond while their cases moved through the system can now be detained indefinitely, with no opportunity to seek release before an immigration judge. This marks the first time an appeals court has supported the policy, despite thousands of lower court decisions nationwide that found it unlawful. The majority opinion, written by Judge Edith Jones and joined by Judge Kyle Duncan, argued that the administration acted within its legal authority, even if it reversed decades of prior practice. Past restraint, the judges wrote, does not limit current enforcement power. In a forceful dissent, Judge Dana Douglas warned the decision could expose up to 2 million non-citizens to detention without bond, erasing a core distinction in immigration law. With other circuits reviewing the issue, the ruling all but guarantees a high-stakes showdown at the Supreme Court. DHS to pull 700 officers from Minnesota, leaving about 2,000 officers on the ground. The Trump administration has announced an immediate reduction of federal immigration agents in Minnesota following the second fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen by immigration officers in Minneapolis. President Donald Trump also hinted at a shift in strategy, calling for a softer touch while maintaining firm enforcement. Operation Metro Surge scaled back. Minnesota became a focal point in December after DHS launched Operation Metro Surge, deploying nearly 3,000 federal agents. White House Border Czar Tom Homan confirmed that 700 officers are being withdrawn, leaving roughly 2,000 still operating statewide. Trump signals tactical adjustment. Speaking to NBC News, Trump said the drawdown was driven by improved cooperation between county jails and IC. He stressed that the administration will continue targeting violent criminals and drug traffickers. Path to a full drawdown. Homan said increased jail coordination has reduced the need for street arrests, but warned that undocumented immigrants remain subject to enforcement. A complete withdrawal depends on continued cooperation and reduced threats of federal officers, body cameras, and accountability. DHS will begin nationwide deployment of body-worn cameras, starting in Minneapolis, after inconsistencies were identified during operations. Local pushback continues. Minnesota leaders welcomed the reduction but urged a full withdrawal, citing community fear, economic harm, and families, especially children, being torn apart by ongoing enforcement actions. Trump administration names 33 new immigration judges, most with military backgrounds. The Justice Department has sworn in 33 new immigration judges, including 27 temporary appointments, as the Trump administration intensifies its overhaul of the immigration court system. This follows an earlier hiring wave in October that added 36 judges after months of firings and forced departures. The newly appointed judges will serve in immigration courts across more than a dozen states, including Arizona, California, Texas, Florida, New York, and Virginia. Justice Department officials say the effort is aimed at restoring integrity and public trust in the courts after what they describe as flawed hiring practices under the previous administration. Military experience is a defining feature of this new cohort. Half of the permanent judges have served in the armed forces, while all temporary judges come from military or Defense Department legal backgrounds and may serve for up to 6 months. Since President Donald Trump returned to office in January 2025, over 100 immigration judges out of roughly 700 nationwide have been removed, according to legal advocates. Meanwhile, immigration courts face a staggering backlog of about 3.2 million cases. Alongside staffing changes, the administration is tightening detention rules and advancing fast-track regulations that would cut appeal deadlines to just 10 days, accelerating deportation decisions nationwide. Trump admin dealt new legal blow as judge blocks IRS sharing data with ICE. A federal court has delivered a significant legal setback to the Trump administration's immigration enforcement strategy. On Thursday, U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani ruled that the Internal Revenue Service cannot share sensitive taxpayer information, including addresses, with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, citing serious privacy concerns and the risk of wrongful detentions. This order halts the data sharing agreement while the court continues its review. Why this matters? This ruling follows a similar November decision by another federal judge in Washington, D.C., who determined that the IRS disclosure of residential data to IC was likely unlawful under the Administrative Procedure Act. The Massachusetts-based order goes further. It bars IC and the Department of Homeland Security from using any IRS data already provided, halting inspection, copying, or reliance on that information in enforcement actions. A broader context of controversy. These judicial interventions come amid intense scrutiny of federal immigration enforcement, especially following the fatal shootings of U.S. citizens by IC and other federal agents in Minneapolis, which triggered national outrage and calls for accountability. What happens next? ICE maintains it has not yet used IRS data for deportations, but the legal challenge now throws the administration's targeted enforcement ambitions into further uncertainty. Democrats' 10 demands to rein in IC, the full list of proposed reforms. Democrats have made it clear they won't support long-term funding for the Department of Homeland Security unless Republicans agree to sweeping reforms of federal immigration enforcement, especially after the fatal Minneapolis shootings of U.S. citizens Renee Good and Alex Preddy by federal agents earlier this year. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries delivered a list of 10 non-negotiable demands tied to DHS funding, warning that current funding could run out on February 13th without an agreement. Key Democratic reform demands. 1. Judicial warrants only. Agents must obtain judicial warrants before entering private property and verify non-citizenship before detention. 2. No masks. Ban face covering for IC and immigration agents. 3. Visible ID. Require clear identification and verbal disclosure on request. 4. Protect sensitive areas. No enforcement at schools, hospitals, churches, courts, or polling places. 5. Ban racial profiling. No stops based on race, language, accent, job, or location. 6. Use of force limits. Legally binding force standards, expanded training, and removal from the field during investigations. 7. Local oversight. Preserve state/local investigatory rights and require consent from major operations. 8. System safeguards. Uniform detention standards, attorney access, and state enforcement rights. 9. Body cameras. Mandatory use with strict rules. No tracking of protesters. 10. No paramilitary policing. Standardized uniforms and equipment for civil enforcement. That is all for today in this video. Please hit like and subscribe for an upcoming video. See you later. Till then, take care.